Hello everyone and welcome back. We're going to make this intro pretty quick because it is a deck that I have played frequently and you've probably seen it enough on the ladder. But here we are playing the Simic Tolarian Terror Eddymurk Crab kind of synergy deck where all we're trying to do is put a lot of instants and sorceries in our graveyard, whether that's by casting them, milling them some way, somehow, and casting this Tolarian Terror. That is a 7-mana card, a 5/5 with Ward 2 for 1 mana. And our Crab with Flash on our opponent's end step, or whenever they try to hit us big time on their turn, we can just flash this in for 2 blue. And then it is also a 5/5 and very quickly turn the table by one-shotting our opponent, forcing them to kind of have it. And as soon as they think they have enough blockers, we bounce it with this Town Ain't Big Enough, or a Flood Maw, or an Unsummon, put it back in their hand. The other thing that we're adding into this deck to make it a little bit different than the last time, kind of always want to be testing, experimenting, seeing if it's worth it or not. We are playing the Say Its Name combo in here, if you would. Basically, all this says is there are 3 copies of Say Its Name in the graveyard. You can exile them and go grab this card, the Thrice-Called, from anywhere. You can grab it from graveyard, your hand, or your library. I guess you can't grab it from exile, but if we're getting hit with a Rest in Peace or something, we're leaving the game anyway. But this says Trample, it's a 9/9. We kind of put it in play for free. Pretty much cheating, kind of how we are with the other cards, but if it becomes target a spell or an ability an opponent controls, we get to draw a card. But this does have another kind of cool synergy in the deck if it ever starts in our opener, because we're so aggressive on milling with like Cash Grab or like Seed of Hope, or like just putting other cards in there off of, like, say, a Surveil land into our graveyard. We'll most likely hit a land at some point that'll be in there, so we can use the bottom mode of this where we discard it, return target land onto the battlefield immediately, and it'll be tapped on our opponent's end step. So that's also a really cool synergy part of the deck. The final note, as I'll back out and click back in here real quick, this is a super kind of budget deck, maybe not fully budget, as there is a couple rares in Stormchaser's talent, stuff like that. But in terms of budget, especially if you have the lands, this is not necessarily a hard deck to craft whatsoever. And if you want to play the other versions that aren't necessarily playing Say Its Name or Thrice-Called, the rare count doesn't even go up that much. But these are the rares, no mythics, just a couple lands that are free, and the rest of this is all commons and uncommons. And with that said, all I got. Let's go hop into games. Let's see how well it does with adding the Thrice into the deck with Say Its Name, and see if it's actually worth trying out and playing. Here first, this is our hand. I don't mind this hand for sure. Do I just Surveil first? No, I probably just play second, right? Yeah, I mean, I have a spell to cast or aggro. We can maybe bounce, but most likely not going to. Blooming Marsh, okay. Cast Seed of Hope. Go over some things. Grab a Beanstalk. Draw an untap land. Oh! Beanie Boy. You ever need to beat Golgari? Beanie Boys is the way to do it. A lot of lands already. We don't play many. We have 17, and a lot of times this counts as a land. So it's a little bit questionable. I'm going to go ahead and play a Force for now. I'm going to cast Say Its Name. I'll grab a Crab. The Crabs are already cheap. Tolarian Terror is a 1-mana spell. And I'll just hold up my Into the Flood Maw. Honestly, if they play like the enchantment. Ooh. Okay. Sure. Not worried about bouncing that. If I could bounce that land, I would. Yeah, it's non-land. Okay. Just had to make sure what that says, Sometimes I'm a little silly. Say its name. Go right in that graveyard. Fantastic. Then I guess I will pass. Like to flash in a Crab. They just cast an Overlord. Okay. Fair enough. They said big manas for me. I'll draw a card. Deck's so weird because it's like you just do randomly find lands, and it's kind of wild. Now I can just like cast a Beanie Boy, hit for 5, play a Tolarian Terror, and then go for Crab, which is just lethal, by the way. I also get a double draw here. Then we'll pass. Holding this up is our only blocker. Is not going to get it done, obviously. All right. So So I think we now know that they have a board wipe. No, I'll force you to do it. Get it in here. Cast your deadly cover up. Here. Crap. Other card is going to pretty much have to decide his game. Yep, I'll tap it. Here. Here. Can we hit here? I'm unsure. Crab. Blue. Stormchasers. I barely even know if I have many more basics in there. I feel like I've ripped every land out at this point, but I don't know. I guess I can just wait. This is going to come up and I can just bounce it back to their hand after crabbing. That is fine. Update, we changed what we're bouncing back to hand, by the way. I just realized I haven't found a single copy of This Town Ain't Big Enough. That'd be a pretty good card. Bounce that. Maybe have a cut down, maybe anoint, something similar along those lines, right? We'll take our double draw here. Maybe we'll find that This Town Ain't Big Enough. Never know. Couldn't be me. I say its name is pretty good because we can find the Thrice-Called. Tap. Tippy tap. A lot of lands, to say the least, to be honest with you. This is 4 mana, then 6 mana. Honestly, it's probably one of our win conditions here. Definitely a win state for sure. Alright. Or we just force them to concede. I assume they're going to have deadly cover up. So I'm trying to like think of how to play around it and go in for that. But if they want to concede because they don't want to play, that's fine with me. Fine with me, man. I understand I was playing a little bit slow there, but man, there's a lot to think about in that spot. All right, so this is one of the weird hands where it's like we go first, and this seems like an obvious throwback, right? But weirdly, to some extent, it's not. When we do this, we go get a land, probably an island regardless, and then we just play a beanstalk, and we hope that's good enough. Obviously, like, one cash grab changes everything about the sand, or they duress me, and they take my beanstalk, and now I'm sad. I mean, it's like 50-50, because, like, obviously, beanstalk's really good, but it's also, like, if they're not mono red, I feel pretty happy that if I'm going to lose my beanstalk, it could be now. That land draw is probably not supposed to happen, but sure. I will get rid of this land because we get a cool trick to do. We get it back anyway. Honestly, hitting lands is definitely not, like, really applicable at this point. We play 17. We're at 4 kind of already. I know, like, that's not many, but 17 lands is how many we start with. Oh, boy. Now, honestly, there's times we can just win this matchup by constantly bouncing their demon and just, like, never letting them play that. Which is really kind of messed up, but also kind of funny at the same time. It just says creature, too. So that's fine with us. Uh-huh. I feel like our hand is going to be this, like, super, super weird game until we just start hitting, like, every... Like, we're going to get one spell to mill over if we ever find it in time. Obviously, if we just draw more of these, then, like, we're definitely screwed overall. Pick it up. Back to your hand. Okay, still hitting, like, the improbable odd. We're more likely to hit anything else, but at least it feels. We're just gonna flash in a crab. We still know our hand, because every card we've hit is not a card that's been in our hand. which is quite funny. They'll gain a little bit of life, but we will smack them for 5 for doing so, which is interesting. I mean, this is just like one cash grab too. Go for that. We'll just cast this. A real concern. Tap that. We tap our own creature and the arena will yell at us. Just creatures, right? Trying to tap our other green source. We need that, most likely. Like, definitely an example of a card that we should definitely send. Grab the land, I guess. Can't block this regardless. And if they Aquazos me, they Aquazos me. I think this game has gotten to the point that it's like... I think it's pretty clear cut how we lost this game. Like, everything was fine. We had a Beanstalk come in. We got duress, which obviously can happen. But then... I've just... not done much. Honestly, I wouldn't even be opposed from them. Unless they're playing around a bounce spell, which definitely could happen. But I've only had one card they don't know about. So I almost would bring up this. Force me to interact. And just hit me for 9 and then drain me for 2 more. Like, it just seems reasonable. And then you're like guaranteed to drain with 1 mana. But like you can also play it a bit more passive. Hey, elect for... You could even have attacked me first, no, right? Yeah, and then gone that route. And it goes vacuum. Yeah, I think it's impossible for us to win this game. Sure. Okay. Keeper here, I think. We could go with untapped source if needed, but on the play, I don't think we necessarily are forced to do so. You know, just keep up our mana on the following turn, just Hedge Maze, and maybe see like what we need to get rid of or keep kind of thing. We'll never know. At least I'll never know. Alright, my opponent elected to finally keep, and then they hit me with hello immediately. After, I don't know, sitting here for a minute and a half. But hello, dude. Sure, show me discard. Sure, what would you like? I don't have a Beanstalk in this hand for you to take. Let us see it. I feel like it's gotta be Sleight of Hand if I'm taking, or Bushwhack, I guess. I understand maybe taking this town ain't big enough too, but pretty good draw, I guess. I'm gonna grab the Botanical Sanctum because it does come in untapped next turn, and that does allow me to maybe Bushwhack, bounce, and Sleight of Hand. Definitely gonna start to turn off with maybe a Sleight of Hand, see what's up. Maybe. Who knows? There's a card in here they don't like. Maybe they're just gonna try to slam an Unholy Annex and pray it's good enough. We could just Bushwhack, get a land, and then play the Botanical Sanctum and flash into Crab, I guess. Seems reasonable to me. Island. Play the Botanical Sanctum. Last turn. They don't know about to say its name, but they don't need to know that. Oh no, Liliana! No way! You mean that? This island can go. Trap Flash. Tap. Obviously can't do that. Next. Hey, Lily. Nice name.
I know when I'm not wanted.
I guess I grab a Surveil land and I take a little look. Huh? Beanstalk pretty good. I enjoyed the stock that beans. Liliana's gone, and they gave up a go for the throw, which typically means they have another one. Most of the time on a Liliana plus, like if you have a cut down or like an anoint, and you know this is the matchup, and they saw my hand, so they know what this card was in there. You typically prioritize getting those out of there, but who knows? Deadly cover-up, not possible. It can definitely surgically extract, though. A card that we're going to draw and play is typically a good card in this matchup, especially considering they don't have any value in play so far. And by value, I mean like an Unholy Annex. They hit with me with the Go for the Throat. Okay. Hiya. It's a bean boy. And free my soul. They don't know about the island in hand, so we might as well just play the Botanical Sanctum. Hitting a lot of lands. Like, there's a lot in the graveyard, and we only play 17. Like, I'm going to probably say a lot in this video. There's 4, 9, 10. I have 10 of the 17 in my top 20. That's what I'm talking about. I'll cast this. You can have a fish over card draw. Alright. Terror. It's to say its name. All copies are in there. Okay. We're crabbing. I guess just do this, right? It's like they can always just blow up the board and then surgically extract those. It's in my library, I believe. Yeah. Here's my 9/9. Go ahead. No deadly cover-up, Smile. Definitely a card I can't typically beat. This thing also has trample, by the way. And we're on pace if they just kill it to cast it again with how many lands we got. One of the cool things about Say Its Name is that it can grab a permanent that's in your graveyard. Okay. Crap. Ooh. I'd like to swing for 1 under lethal. Very sick. Sleight of Hand. This town. Might as well take both. Considering we can just fully cast it and bounce both their permanents, feels pretty good. I think they're definitely on Bloodletter or nothing at this point. I can also bounce my permanents if they go to, like, board wipe. Which would be the Tolarian Terror and the Crab, of course. Which makes this cost 2 less. The Deadly Cover-Up doesn't even get there. Sure. I'll let you have it. Down to 8. You got 8 damage? Okay. It's like, I don't know of a card at 8 that I can lose, but like I'll allow it. The only way I think I lose is like bouncing both their things. Like, I guess I would never bounce the fish, so I'd still just like target my crab, and then if they like, I'll just put this back in hand, and then if they do nothing, I'll just cast it again, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Opponents first. The Bushy Boy, the Cash Grab, the Say Its Name, the Tolarian Terror, the Town. We'll keep. Another swamp. Somebody get these swamps out of my life right now, man. I think I just go get a basic forest at this point. Just because, like, I would like to not take as much damage. This could be skeletons, which would be scary. River, is that you? River's like the only person I can think of recently that would play with this card. But typically when he plays this card, it's a really, really cool deck. Just like the I hate mono red player deck is what it is. But that's okay. Probably take the Say Its Name if you're going to take one of these two. Well, maybe. I don't know. Like, Cash Grab's weird, right? It's like this does do more and you do see a Tolarian Terror. Or you just take this town ain't big enough and you just hope, I guess. There's a lot it could be. The only problem about playing the forest here is not having double blue later or triple blue, because oftentimes that matters. But I guess with that, I'm just going to Cash Grab on instep. And we'll have 1 in there. That'd be 2. And then this could possibly be playable next turn. Also, cool part about this card. Unholy Annex. It just kind of cancels out the Annex. Hello? I don't need to land, so I'll take a crab main. This is also awful for us to ever have to bounce, right? Oh, we'll pass, I guess. Could have just played a Tolarian Terror. I think I'll crab, maybe tap some stuff down. Crab. It's like take 3 anyway, or just like tap it. Yeah. Down to 14. It's definitely going to be the hardest card for us to handle. And it's not particularly close. There could be a Lily now. Man, I just keep having to take 3 damage, huh? Pretending like it's okay. Sleight of Hand. His name. I do think starting that train would be pretty good. Say his name. Huh. They just kill my stuff, dude. I'm getting bullied. Phyrexian and Flesh Gorger, honestly, quite the counter to our deck, for sure. Nothing? I guess I could block it. They go for life gain, drain this, and then cut it down. That'd be sick. If they're willing to trade off their 3/3, it would be a way to get the Tolarian Terror out. I think that's what they're prioritizing. I mean, I'm definitely blocking for sure. It's a card that we just can't target. We just have to kind of get it off the board here. More than anything. But they can definitely kill at least one of our creatures. They're gaining 4 here. But like I said, Flesh Gorger's ward cost is just too expensive here. That we have to get it out. And then most likely Gumdrop Poison there coming down. Getting rid of the crab. It was only 4 life. They could have technically got rid of Tolarian Terror and paid the ward. But they elect not to now. Which is definitely fine. For me, anyway. I'll take it. I enjoy it. Show me Beanstalk. That's what we need. We need the bean. Oh, Stormchaser Town's pretty good, too. But I'm going to let it go, comparatively. It's Sleight of Hand time. 1 in the hand, 1 into the bottom. Okay. I guess I just take Yavimaya. I'm like dying to my own lands and stuff. Which is tough. I'm definitely in the business of attacking now, because I do have to at some point chunk this away, I think. I also have my say its name, which is kind of upsetting. I want that bag. I have a bag. I have it. My card. Most likely probably going to... I guess I'm auto-passing. Probably looking to sack one of these. Like attack, be blocked, sack one of these. Play this, kill it. They're a little short of double crack. Yeah, they're 1 short of double crack. The Tolarian Terror can still answer one of these, I guess. But I can definitely block the Gumdrop Poisoner and then let this all happen, right? Like block, they play Poisoner, they target Tolarian Terror, they pay the ward, I bounce Terror, bounce Deep, Cavern Bat, and then we go from there. Yeah, I mean, that seems great to me. You like to pay the ward cost? Thankfully, you haven't played a Nowhere to Run. If you haven't played a Nowhere to Run, we'd be screwed. We pick the Tolarian Terror back up. I get my say its name back. Then they duress me, and I throw up. Obviously, I'm trolling, but I can grab my crab. Crabman? Tell me Crabman's in there? Say his name. Honestly, I feel like it's almost island at this point. As painful as my mana base has been. I guess not with what I got, right? Grab the crab. It's the crab, man. We're in. 5. They have so much life, by the way. They have like an additional 6 sitting here, so definitely got a chunk away here. Now I got a crab. Crab. Not the bad, dude. This one, yes. I don't feel great about it. Yep. Which bounce spell would you like? I have multiple. We do have 15 on board. They have 6 more life. I do have bounce bat, bounce gumdrop. A cycle gumdrop, gain more life. You don't mean that. Surprised they didn't go for the creature with ward. Okay, never mind. They didn't care anymore. They were done playing the video game. They're like, you're not mono red. You're not what I wanted to play against. Opponent goes first, and this is our hand. Our hand's kind of awful, huh? I mean, we don't play many lands, but I feel like this was one we just can't even afford to keep. Sure. We can definitely keep this and just throw this in the back. We don't really necessarily ever need this in our opener. It is nice sometimes with how much we mill to be able to discard that and like grab the land back, but realistically like never needed, right? Oh, okay, well, let's prioritize hitting them. They're definitely zombify of some kind. Zombify is a messed up card that we were allowed to play. Sleight of Hand's good. Cash grab, clearly better. At least in my opinion. We'll pass. Another Atraxa. Atraxa doesn't matter. Valgavoth is the one that really is just like the key piece. There's probably like a fairy discard here to mill 4 and grab a card. This is probably what the pause is. And this is a matchup like where we only need to cheese out the win. Using cards like Stormchaser's talent to make a ton of extra tokens that we can get rid of. We have 3 lands, so I guess it's just the Beanstalk to grab. Definitely now, considering we just keep hitting more and more like land stuff. Yeah. Uh-huh. Might as well hit him for 3 if I'm allowed. Definitely could be a cut down here. That I don't really care about. Or a bounce spell, sure. Put 1 into my hand. Honestly, it's going to be the Surveil land at this point. The reason we put the Surveil land is so we can potentially, like, put an extra card in there. Alright, well, with that said, maybe I fire this off and see what we hit. Grab Crab. I'm going to grab land because I think it's just a little bit better here. And then we're just going to pass and we're going to flash in this guy. I mean, I assume it's getting go for the third hit or a bitter triumph of some kind. Omniscience is in there now. Okay. Just such a weird spot to be in. If this hits like fantastic. There. There. And then we look to cast the crab. We go from there. They're like, oh no, that's 5 power. A lot. That's for sure. Then it's like a weird spot with like the zombie-fi thing. There goes the prankster. Maybe it's squirming emergence. Something. Sure. Draw a card. Yep. $15. Cash grab. Hedge Maze. here. Fine, I guess. Let's play a Stormchaser's talent. And the reason we want to do talent here is because of Portal to Phyrexia. If that's what they got to bring back. This has got to be a Squirming Emergence, right? 1, 2... Okay, I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Look, please. Hello? 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6. So they couldn't even bring anything back. Heck. Also hit way too many lands. Very cool. Okay, here we are. We're going to talk about this a little bit. I have been enjoying this deck a lot. I think I'm actually going to order it in foil and paper because it is quite a cheap deck overall. It's definitely something that is just kind of like cool to have almost, you know. It's just like a foil deck and paper when it's like barely cheaper than 2 copies of Shieldred. Feels okay to do. I speaking of which, this is like weird talk to bring up. I picked up 4 copies of this card at foil for $6 a piece, and at one point they hit $20 a piece. USD, by the way. I was like, bro, I just hit the jackpot. I can just sell these things back and profit, bro. It's just Magic's a weird game sometimes. But yeah, so the main difference I tried in this deck over the other one is to go a little less like efficient, I guess you can say, because obviously we had to trim on a cash grab, we had to trim on like a bounce spell, an Analyze Pollen, a Seed of Hope. I kind of wanted to try say its name. This definitely feels like a bread and butter deck for this kind of combo here, where like other decks try to just do it typically. But with our deck, like when we mill with cash grab and things like that, we can only grab from the pile, but a say its name can grab like that permanent that we might want in terms of a creature. I think it's for sure return a creature or land. So like it can grab from our entire graveyard as a whole. So it's kind of nice. And Thrice-Called, whenever we mill over with cash grab, if we don't grab that land or whatever, we can then discard the Thrice-Called to bring a land back, which is super neat and super cool. But it's just a weird thing. It did somehow like... best way I can describe it, and obviously I haven't played a ton of games, so it could obviously feel a lot better in a lot of other matchups, but it just felt worse. And the main reason it felt worse is the same reason like over the Sleight of Hands and Opt situation I've talked about in the past, where like Sleight of Hand I preferred Opt, even though it does technically look weirdly at 1 less. Like if you just take the top card, then all you did was just draw a card, which is fine sometimes. Like obviously if this was a Consider, we would rock with that, because obviously Consider in this deck is definitely the primary card that we'd want. Instant speed, not sorcery, and just puts extra cards in our graveyard for this combo. Like Consider would be the best 1-mana slot card for us. But this being a sorcery fits that same bill of kind of the problem of this card that we have. But realistically, I was hoping to try to pull it off in the fact that like cash grab would also just throw it in the graveyard when we cast this as the instant speed spell, and the first time we actually cast this card, or if we casted 2 of them, that we can just bring this out because we've milled 1 with other cards, right? So it's a little bit awkward with that, but either way, this deck still remains to be a very budget friendly deck overall, especially now that I trimmed and analyzed Pollen for 5 more common and uncommons. So if we kind of divide this out here, based on rares, commons, and uncommons, is I have a friend that was recently looking to play this, and they kind of like, we went over it actually last night, and I told him, I was like, yeah, honestly, if you don't have the rares to play, just play like the Say Its Name and Thrice-Called combo in there, because they couldn't necessarily get all the lands and have Analyze the Pollen because their account's pretty new overall. So I was just kind of like, you know what, just do this, maybe it'll work out. Obviously you're like, they're in terms of playing, they're just bronze 4. Like they have not played ranked at all or anything. So it's like, you're probably fine. Get some reps in with the deck, then try to build it from there. And they're like, yeah, I mean, it's a real low commitment. Especially because like, I think the owning of Botanical Sanctums was there. But outside of that, I mean, here's your rares if you want to really like divide it out. Obviously, lands are, I guess, technically like free. But like, here's the division of it, you know? There's 8, and then there's 11, 15, 16 rares in this kind of variation of it. Because obviously we trimmed down a bit, but Other than that, I hope y'all enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.